Welcome to Stand in Grace Ministries. I'm Pastor Jason Gantz.
And I'm Glenn Spaugh, co-host of the Stand in Grace Ministries broadcast.
And we are coming to you on this first Sunday of January 2026 to talk about AI and what it is. And so we have titled this one, The Acidity of AI, and we're going to get to that in just a second. But before we do, I want to read you a couple scriptures. So the first one comes out of Ephesians. It's Ephesians 5:11, and it says, "And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them." Now, the very first thing I want to say as we talk about AI is not necessarily bad. It can be good, it can be bad, but we're going to get into some of that and what's going on. But one of the things we do want to do is expose the dark side of things. And then the other verse I have comes out of Revelation 13, and this is the beast system and the beast rising up. And it says, then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb and spoke like a dragon. And he exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence and causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. He performs great signs so that he even makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And he deceives those who dwell on the earth by those signs which he was granted to do in the sight of the beast, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast who was wounded by the sword and lived. He was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast would both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except the one who has the mark or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And so that's where we read about the beast system in Revelation, and you have to do that to even buy and sell. And so we've titled this, as I said, The Acidity of AI. Why did you title this The Acidity of AI, Glenn?
Certainly, great question. Acid is something that's in our lives. We carry it about in our systems, in our bodies. And so it breaks down things, and in a good way. But if you have excessive amounts of it, it will destroy and corrode. And so that's exactly what, when I was looking at what we would do for a title, that's exactly what I was looking at. As you have said, AI in itself is not all bad, but there's a big but there. It can be corrosive. It can break down. And as we're going to go through the things that are happening right now, currently, Jason, we have talked about this several times. Just in the last 2 weeks, I am amazed at how many titles and everything else have AI in them. I do a search on the internet, and it tells me, oh, would you like to use AI for this or blah, blah, blah. And it is just everywhere. And as we've talked, if we see it and we recognize it and we know it's there, then where is it that we don't know about it? What's behind the scenes? And so we're going to cover a multitude of things, maybe in 2 parts.
And so I want to give you guys just tell you what I did over Thanksgiving. I rode in a car. Pretty exciting, huh?
That's not unusual. But wait.
This car was, because this was a self-driving car. I was in the back seat, and it'd be my cousin, his car. He was sitting there. He told it where we wanted to go, and the car drove us there. It knew where stop signs were on the screen. He just tapped the parking spot he wanted to go into, and it drove in and parked in that parking spot. And he was telling me that like right now, the car makes sure he's awake. It'll vibrate the seat if it notices you're spending too much time on your phone while the car's driving. It'll vibrate your seat if it notices you start to fall asleep, and it keeps you awake because it wants to. Now, this is, I can't remember the numbers. It was like 14.2. Well, once it gets up to 15 or whatever the numbers are, it will actually be a self-driving car that doesn't need you in the driver's seat. And he said he charges his car. It's electric car. It's a Tesla. And he said it cost him basically 2 cents a mile. And what he said was once it gets up to 15, there will be self-driving cars. And he said nobody's going to need a car because these things will be so much cheaper. They can pick you up. They can take you anywhere. And in my mind, I'm hearing the World Economic Forum, the WEF, saying you will own nothing and be happy. I'm also hearing the social credit score saying, hey, I don't like what you posted on social media. I don't like what you've been thinking about. Guess what? You don't get a ride today. You don't get to go to church. We're not going to send you to church. And so I'm hearing all this stuff. And he's saying this, and like the flags and the alarms are just going off in my head. And as Glenn said, then all of a sudden you get all this other stuff about AI. And I've seen robots now. They're basically sex robots. And people are getting married to AI. I've seen where they're creating artificial wombs. And what they're doing is they're mixing man and AI. And it's a very dangerous thing. It goes back even all the way back to Genesis 6, and we don't have time for that. But there's a whole thing. But one of the things I want to read to you is this. It's called the Genesis Mission. And I don't know if you've heard about this, but it's a new U.S. government initiative launched in 2025 to accelerate scientific discovery using artificial intelligence. The purpose is to build an integrated AI platform that connects federal scientific data sets, national labs, universities, and private industry to accelerate discovery and innovation. What does that mean? What's private industry? Universities. I have to ask the question because when you start getting into digital IDs and face recognition, what is all this? Where is it going? Help us, Glenn.
So, where is it going? It's going crazy. That's what it's doing, and it's moving faster than we can keep up. Literally, faster than we can keep up. And that's AI does not control the world right now, but it certainly could control the world very quickly. I want to reference back to real quick. So AI is known as artificial intelligence. AGI is artificial general intelligence. That's where they, excuse me, feed information into the system. The system finds it and then spits out the answer. And then there's something called agentic AI, and that actually mimics human decision making. So you give the AI, bot, whatever, assign them a task, and away they go. And the issue is they don't have a conscience. They're going by data. They're not going by feeling. So it's those types of things that we see.
Yeah, there's so much stuff with this, and this is how easily this stuff gets pushed on us. So let's just talk about digital ID for a minute. Well, let me start with face recognition. I don't know if you've seen this, but they can do this at football games, baseball games, whatever, face recognition, where they say, well, now we can see who gets drunk and who's causing the issues, who's starting the fights, and then we can kick them out. You know, and what's that for? That's for our safety. Now, we live in a mostly conservative area, and so digital ID, voter fraud, this would solve the issue. Well, what comes with digital ID? Sometimes we never think about the opposite. They shove this in our face. It's for our good. It's for our safety. And what we end up finding is it's never for our good. Remember the Patriot Act they signed where they could spy on us, which is unconstitutional. But they did it for our safety. It's not for our good, because now they're building data centers all over the place. And what do you do with all this? How do you deal with all this? There's so much to it. And so, yeah, we need to understand that while it's not all bad, there's a lot of good things you can get from it. There is a lot of danger to it.
And if you rely on it, so you become so involved with it. I mean, we're talking about things that people, as you have mentioned, building relationships with. Instead of having relationships with another human, they have relationships with AI. Whether it's sexual, whether it's emotional, no matter what it is, they're building these relationships that are unhealthy because they're not human, and this whole thing leads to, you may hear the term out there, transhumanism. And this is exactly a part of it, where you're combining humans and machines.
And that's how they do that with the artificial wombs. They can do that. That's how they can do this in many different ways. But they're really pushing it towards us. And so what have they talked about? We're the most connected at any time in the point of history around the world, and yet people are more lonely than ever. And so if you've seen the commercials, you've seen these people like dancing with their AI on their cell phone, and they're out dancing on a floor holding their phone up. What are we doing? Why is that trying to be normalized? See, we have to understand that this is all a ploy of Satan. This is all to ultimately bring in the beast system that we read about. And it's all to make us lonely, to separate us from other man. And it goes right in the face of God. We're created as humans for other human contact. We need that contact. We need those relationships. And the more technology we get, the worse those relationships seem to be. And so, yeah, we need to be very careful about it. We need to pay attention to it. We need to understand what's going on. And we need to even understand how to use it properly.
And decisions on medical treatment are being made by AI, which basically takes your compassionate care, quote unquote, out of the equation in your healthcare. Well, you don't fit the model or whatever, and so we're going to treat you this way instead of the way that heals you, or you don't have, as you said, you don't have the right digital score, so you're not worth keeping around. So we're just going to let you, suffer, etc. And that sounds really, really out there, but it is happening, and it's going to start happening more.
It shouldn't sound out there. We just went through COVID, where we just experienced that.
Exactly.
Oh, you're in bad health. There's no point in rescuing you or helping you, and so we've already seen that. And I want us to see how easy this is to roll out. Look at all the fear they created with COVID, and look at how the world just caved in. Look how Americans gave up their rights. Give me liberty or give me death. Man, we went from that to, man, keep me safe. Don't let me die. And if you're a believer in Christ, we shouldn't be fearing death. We shouldn't be worrying. We shouldn't be scared. Church, we have to understand who we are. We have to understand who we are in Christ. And so, we don't have to fear all this kind of stuff. But understand that as they keep throwing AI at us, and it gets more real, right now there's ways you can kind of tell sometimes in pictures and different things. A lot of times you'll see like a hand and it has 6 fingers, or
Exactly.
the hand's like 17 times bigger than everything else in the picture. Whatever. There's a few little things you can see. But as it improves, all that's going to get fixed. and pretty soon we won't be able to tell what's real and what isn't.
Yeah, to follow off of that, the lines will be sharper. Just go online, if you have Facebook or whatever, and you can see images that are AI generated. I'm firmly convinced of that. I've seen one was Dick Van Dyke, his 100th birthday, and it showed him supposedly in a hospital bed, and all these people were coming to visit him. And if you look real close at the pictures, it's like, no, this is all made up. This is all made up. So look at the background of a picture. Does it seem reasonable? If they're standing out there in a t-shirt and shorts, and it's in the middle of the background is the middle of winter, probably not. Lines will be sharper. Colors are going to be a lot bolder and pure because you just can't take pictures that good. And then the terminology needs to be reasonable. Would the things that these two people are saying, does that sound like what they would normally say? In other words, if these are two vicious enemies and they're all of a sudden, loving each other, et cetera, that's another heads up that, this is probably AI generated.
There are some things we can do, we can see, but the reason we warn you is because ultimately it's all to pull you away from Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And that's what we want you to know more than anything as we live in these days and these times, is that the only thing that we can be sure of is our hope and our salvation is safe and secure in Jesus Christ. If you have never trusted in the finished work of Jesus Christ, his death on the cross, his burial, and his resurrection, then you can do that today. You can place your hope in Christ and just tell Jesus, you know what? However you word it, it doesn't matter. It's between you and God, and he'll know. Hey, I realize I can't save myself. I need you. My words were, it's all true. And so whatever it is, you can place your faith, your hope in Jesus Christ today, alone for your salvation, and be safe and secure in that, because that is the only hope that we have in this crazy world. If you have any other questions or comments, you can email us at info@standingrace.org. If you're looking for a church that will tell you the truth, you're always welcome to Gordon Berean Church, 401 West 9th Street. Service starts every Sunday at 10:30. And until next time, keep your eyes on Jesus.